This video is brought to you by my supporters on Patreon. Hey guys, I'm here with another video in my Brigitte work log series, and in this video I'm working on her shoe armor. So at this point I've already cut everything out in 6mm EVA foam. This is all this grayish blackish foam that you see here, and I've went ahead and dremeled the front section of her shoe at an angle so that I could glue these two pieces together using contact cement, as you see me doing here in this clip. And just a reminder, these patterns and templates are available on my store Envy or Etsy if you prefer shopping there. Now I'm taking my Dremel and I'm dremeling the edges so that there's a slight bevel to it, so that when I attach the pieces together it's going to come to a point. I'm doing this on both ends of the longer front pieces and then this little half oval bolt piece. And then I'm applying contact cement, waiting for that to dry a little bit and get tacky, and then sticking it together. Then once everything's kind of glued together, including the top foot piece, I'm taking a Dremel and dremeling all of the edges of all of the armor pieces to smooth it all out. And when it came to the bolts that sit at like the ankle-ish area of her feet, I dremeled those with a slight bevel to it just to give it more of a bolt-like shape, I guess, to mimic her design. You're going to want to look at some reference photos to get a feel for which areas of her various armor pieces should have bevels to them or be sanded at an angle, and which one should be sanded just flat. I didn't get a clip of me gluing this piece together, but this is the top part of the foot, and all I did here was glue the center together and then scored the underside of the foam and used a heat gun to shape it to create that bend in it. And now I'm taking a box cutter to score the upper side of the foam where she has these little like carved details in the top part of her foot and on the sides of that front armor foot piece. Then I move on to gluing all of the pieces together. So I'm using contact cement to do this, and I'm gluing the top foot piece onto the front foot piece, and then that's one section of the shoe armor. And then I'm gluing together all the back pieces. I'm taking some scrap pieces of 2mm foam and covering them in contact cement, because this is where I'll be attaching the bolt piece to, and then using that to attach that bolt piece to the back heel pieces so that everything's connected and one piece, and the bolt piece can still float slightly above the rest of the armor. These 2mm pieces of foam will eventually be painted brown to blend in with the boots. While I wait for the glue to dry a little bit, I take a marker and mark out some spots where battle damage will go, and then once the glue is dry, I start sticking things together. So first I stick the bolt piece onto the 2mm foam, and then start applying more glue, because I hadn't done this in the first place and I should have, to the inside of the heel pieces so that I can stick this 2mm foam to it in a little bit. Now that I have all of the glue applied, I start finishing it off by sticking these scrap pieces of 2mm foam onto the rest of it so that the bolts hover slightly above the rest of the pieces. Cut off the excess at the top, but leave the excess towards the center back because that will help make attaching the back heel piece a little bit more secure and easier. Don't think that really made sense. It will help make attaching the back heel piece easier, and it will make that attachment more secure because there's something extra for it to hold on to. And then once those are all glued into place, I take a Dremel, smooth out all of the edges, and even out the area where the 2mm foam attached to everything else. I use a Dremel to add some battle damage to various parts of the foam. There's nothing to really go off of for this, so just add it where you think it would look cool if you even want to add it at all. It's absolutely not needed. And using a smaller Dremel head, I press into the foam where there's little bolt holes to add those details. And then I move on to priming and painting. So at this point, I've already added a couple layers of wood glue, and then I've filled in the seam lines with Bondo's glazing and spot putty, let that dry, sanded it down, and now I'm doing the last few coats of wood glue. I sand it down once more just to make sure the wood glue layers are all smooth and the edges are all smooth because those were a little bit rough still, and then do one more layer before moving on to painting. So at this point I've already painted the silver parts silver. I'm painting all of this with acrylic paint, and here I'm just applying the black color to the top part of the shoes and the back of the heel. That 2mm foam from earlier, we're covering that in brown now. I pick a brown color that is fairly close to my shoe color to try to make it blend as much as possible. And you're probably going to need to do a few layers of paint for all the colors. Once that's finished though, I top it off with a glossy spray paint and then use black oil paint to shade the battle damage, add some like grime and dirt looking patches, and shade any place else I think might need shading. Once you're happy with the shading, top it off with another coat of clear glossy spray paint, and you're done. I have an entirely different video on how I attached all the different pieces, so be sure to check that out. And I'll be back with more Brigitte videos and just other videos around cosplay in general in the future, so I hope you stick around. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys found this helpful. Have a lovely day, and bye!